Do you remember the first time that you were asked to direct a Treehouse of Horror episode?
It was exhilarating. I remember getting upset in that episode when the color came back because I had some leaves fall through in the opening shot and they colored them green.
Oh, no.
This is Halloween. This is fall. These leaves need to be recolored. I can't remember if we fixed it or not.
Simpsons Declassified! Tonight, we're going full Treehouse of Horror. Our guest is one of the visual architects of The Simpsons, director Mark Kirkland. Mark's an animator, a filmmaker, a fine artist, and a lover of classic cinema. So grab your donuts and your garlic cloves, because this week we're diving into Springfield's spookiest Treehouse of Horror with director Mark Kirkland. It's so good to see you. You've been busy, huh?
Not too busy to be here, and I'm happy to recall my time on The Simpsons. So,
good.
Yeah.
Can we start with your hat, the hat that you're wearing? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay. This was a Simpsons souvenir hat, beautifully made, and it's got Chief Wiggum on it to serve and protect the donuts, it says. I wore this. I put these 2 pins on it. And I wore this, I don't know how long, for probably years. And I often wore it while I was working on the animation directing of the show. So I figured I would bring it out and show you guys.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
On the side, it says SPD.
Yeah.
Springfield Police Department.
Exactly. It's got something on the back. Springfield on
Springfield
the back.
Police Department. Wow.
You know, it's all in there. So.
And it's got a little Bart skateboard pin.
Skateboard and the other pin is I survived Camp Krusty, which to me, when I saw these pins, it meant a lot to me because I directed Camp Krusty. And directing all of these episodes was fun, but they were also like deadline heavy and lots to accomplish. So, you know.
I remember a little.
So you literally survived.
Yeah, I literally survived it. Yeah.
Here's to thee, Camp Krusty. Hail to thee, Camp Krusty. That's all I remember.
And the story on that song is that the episode, because I did the voice, I did the, when we would get together years later and do a commentary, I did one on that. Oh. So I got to hear Al Jean talking about it. That was a show that they really liked, and James L. Brooks really liked it. He wanted it. They were even pitching the idea that it should be the feature.
Really?
Yeah. But Al said, good thing it wasn't, because we didn't have enough material. It was so short that they actually wrote the song to plump it out.
Wow.
Oh, no way.
The Hail to Thee, Camp Krusty song was because it was going to come up short.
Well, I can see how that would be a problem.
Yeah.
You're talking about 90 minutes compared to 20.
Yeah.
So that's beefy.
Also, it was an era where every fantastic idea they had, they kept putting it on TV. So it ended up being a show premiere episode, season premiere. So, but it was fun.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, Mark, we like to start off the show with a little warm-up game.
Okay.
All right. So this one is called Simpsons Catchphrase versus Catchphrase Halloween Edition.
Good. So this is round 1.
Yeah.
And this is a very bad impression of Kangaroo Kodos. I don't know which one this is, but to the book depository versus a bad Homer Simpson. Don't blame me. I'm a vampire. Which one do you like the best?
I'd probably go for the Homer.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, you guys both get a point. Okay. That's the one that was voted as a favorite.
I'm learning how this game works.
Yeah.
We're tied.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah. That was a good Homer.
Here's the next one. This is round 2. Okay, this is easy. Eat my shorts, zombie. Versus, okay, you tell me who this is. I am not a monster. I'm a shopkeeper.
Comic book guy.
Oh, that's pretty. See? You're not bad at all. All right, so which one's your favorite, Mark?
I like the Eat My Shorts zombie.
I'm going to go with the comic book guy just because I'm very proud of myself for getting that out.
Yeah, that was truly good. Yeah.
And tell us more about why you like the Bart Simpson zombie catchphrase.
It's a tried and true catchphrase with a twist.
Ooh, a little spooky twist.
With a Halloween twist.
This point on this round here is going to go to Mark because that was the fan favorite as well.
Okay.
All right, Nancy, he's in the lead.
Yeah.
You better catch up.
2-1.
Okay.
All right, round 3. The end is near. I got a paper cut. Diddly.
Cletus.
It was a little southern.
I tried to give you a hint with the diddly.
Ned Flanders. Yeah. Okay.
Woohoo, that's right.
Okay. Ned
Flanders.
Like I said, apologies.
That's
apologies
okay.
to
That's okay. I couldn't do any of that.
Okay. Versus this one. Marge versus the monorail. Ooh, spooky.
All right, which one do you guys vote is the best one? The best catchphrase of the two?
Go for
Mark
Marge.
first.
Marge, the monorail.
Yeah, I say the same.
Yeah.
I think it's the idea that it's spooky. Why is Marge versus the monorail? Why is that spooky? It's just there's a little kind of like a mystery there, so I kind of like that.
Okay.
Monorail was an epic episode. Oh. And anything with monorail in it is in Simpsons universe has to be, special. So that's my guess.
What a great answer, Mark.
Oh,
well,
thanks.
The fans agree. That is the top rated of the two catchphrases.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Nancy's on your heels, Mark.
Okay, yeah,
She's on your heels.
Yeah.
Okay, here's round 4. All right. I'll try the next one. We're doomed. Doomed, I say.
Groundskeeper Willie.
Versus this one. Diddly.
Now you know who Diddly is.
Yeah.
All you can eat brains.
That's fantastic. Gosh, all you can eat brains. Go with that.
Yeah, that's zombie Ned
Yeah,
Flanders.
that's zombie Ned Flanders.
That's kind of fun. Which one do you like most, Nancy?
I think I like that one too, because I just like the idea of eating your brains.
Yes.
Sounds appetizing to you?
Yeah.
Brains? All right, so Nancy likes it because the brains sound appetizing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's why Mark picked that one.
The concept. It's just the concept.
It's a classic Halloween concept.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm proud to say that was the fan favorite.
Oh, okay.
So
Doing
Mark
good.
is hot to trot. He's still in the lead, Nancy.
He's still in the lead.
But by 1 point, that's nothing.
So
Yeah.
we'll either tie or else he'll cream me.
That's
No,
right.
that's just
That's
one.
right.
All right. Okay, here's another one. It's alive, Glavin, and it's hungry.
Ralphie? No, wait a second.
This is somebody
Oh, no,
I don't
no.
do. Glavin.
Glavin. Oh, that's Professor Frink. Yeah.
That's right.
So say
right.
that again. Say it again.
It's alive, Glavin, and it's hungry.
Okay.
I
great.
added the Glavin. I have to. I don't do Frank.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, versus this next one. No TV and no beer make Homer something.
Wow. Homer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're both fantastic. Go for Homer.
He's going for Homer
Okay.
from the shinning.
I'm going to go for Frink.
Okay.
Because I did the line, it's alive and it's hungry. I think it is a little more Halloween representative.
Yep.
It's got that, alive and it's hungry, like look out kind of a thing.
Yep.
Oh,
Makes
that's
sense.
pretty scary.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mark creamed you because the favorite was the other one, the one that he picked, Homer Simpson's from the
Simpson.
shinning.
From The Shining, another fantastic episode.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
such
yeah,
a classic.
You win a new hat.
And
Directed
Nancy, you
by
kind of made
Jim
him
Reardon.
guess, so
Jim
he kind of
Reardon.
had to win two games at the same time.
Well, you had to work for it. Good job.
Very nice.
Thank you.
When you first drew to animation, like what kind of movies and what were you watching television? What inspired you to get you to where you are now?
Television animation. I grew up in that era where I watched cartoons on TV like most kids. So Wonderful World of Disney.
Yeah.
It was anything they did, I was glued to it. I also, of course, watched Saturday morning cartoons, Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I watched Warner Brothers cartoons. If it was animated, I liked it.
Right.
So, I like monster movies too, so that's in theme with Halloween, but like King Kong, which is a type of animation.
Right.
You know,
Yes, that's right.
the Ray Harryhausen stuff, that's also stop motion animation, which I started doing when I was young.
Really?
But I also drew. I was an artist, and I was a failed musician, and I was just spending time with my mom, bless her. My mom is now 90. And she was describing how I was no good at the piano, and she's decided to shift me from music lessons to drawing lessons. I did that. It was fun, and my teachers encouraged me, and I had a lot of encouragement. So I went into animation, and I was lucky. My father was a photographer, Douglas Kirkland.
An amazing photographer, I might add.
He had a big career in that world, and I worked for him when I was young. And so I would go on photo shoots and movie sets, and I was enthralled. And I made a decision very young, I want to get into this somehow. I also thought my drawing abilities would maybe get me into the industry. And so I was lucky and started going to Cal Arts when I was 17. I was the head of the animation department, looked at my portfolio and said, you can come here.
Wow.
And while I was there, I was 17 and 18. My teachers were old Disney guys, and they were 65 years old. Quite a gap in there in age. But they became my best friends. They became my mentors. And by 20, so I realized recently I had a union card working for Hanna-Barbera before I could legally buy a drink. And so I worked at Hanna-Barbera, was where I started my career.
Wow.
You and I both.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I mean, you were a little bit ahead of me in terms of being there.
Yeah.
Not age-wise. I think I got
1977 is when I got there.
Yeah, I didn't move to California till 78, but still it was the Hanna-Barbera that we had that in common, and that parking lot on Cahuenga Boulevard West, and that building, and
the old building,
yeah,
the
1950
new building.
circa, mid-century modern building, and I think it's a condo now or something. Yeah, that's a little painful, but we were there. We were there early on.
Yeah, I got to meet Mel Blanc. I met Scatman Crothers, and I met Chuck McCann. Those were all. I worked and knew Joe Barbera and Bill Hanna. I knew them.
John Stevenson, Joni Gerber. These are some voiceover people.
Those are voiceover people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the animation side. I was a layout artist.
Okay.
But I did some storyboarding, a little bit of work and Bob Singer is still with us in his 90s now, but he was the head of the model department. I did some time in the design department, designing stuff. My mentor was a guy named Mo Golub, who had worked on Bambi. And he was the union president. And he could shift gears and work on the superhero stuff, like Superman and Batman. We were drawing them. And he could shift gears from very anatomical work to suddenly he's drawing Fred Flintstone.
Whoa.
And I saw that and I said, okay, I want to be able to do that. So I could shift gears and change model sheets, whatever. And that kept us employed longer.
Wow, sure.
Of course.
Versatility.
You're viable.
Yeah.
Really viable.
So Simpsons got when it started going, and I did see the Tracy Ullman shorts. I loved them. I did see the season 1. I was at Craig Bartlett's house when it premiered. And that's Matt Groening's brother-in-law, Lisa Groening. I was at their home.
Hey Arnold, right? Didn't he create Hey Arnold?
Later, Hey Arnold,
yeah.
Penny from the Pee Wee Herman show. He did those. And we were friends, and I saw it, and I really liked it. And I thought, I think I could do this kind of animation because of my Hanna-Barbera background. Then I went into special effects and different kinds of animation later.
Yeah.
But I thought I love the stories. I love the characters. They were hugely popular. And I found myself over at Klasky Chupo working on commercials with Wes Archer. We did a Levi's commercial.
Okay.
And Wes said to me, why don't you join us on The Simpsons?
Wow.
Just like that.
Well, we were tightly working together, and he knew my background. And what happened was season 1, there were 13 episodes of The Simpsons. And from the first episode forward, they knew it was a monster hit, a huge hit.
Interesting.
And they
Wow,
had,
we sure didn't know that.
no, it was. They
We're all
had,
like scared to death. Are we going to get picked up?
and even Sam Simon
canceled.
later said,
Yeah.
when he assembled the writers, he was telling them, go crazy with the scripts because we're going to be one and done.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
episode,
Yeah.
one season and out.
Yeah, John Vitti said the same thing.
Yeah,
We're
one and
18
done.
and out. Yeah, just like we're done.
And so the writers did that, and you guys gave it your all with fabulous voices. The animators who were working with very small budget in season 1.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody was, but they pulled it off, and they did it with content and really clever ideas, well done. And the public was so hungry for it, and they loved it. And there were 5 directors to do 13 episodes, and 2 of them left, leaving only 3.
The 3 old men.
3 old men, and then and they were the 3
You
old men.
and Wes and
Wait,
Rich.
how did that nickname
No, it
come
was
about?
David?
David, Wes, and Rich were the 3 old men left. They were the guys left from season 1. By the way, I want to add Brad Bird also directed the Krusty episode. Krusty Gets Canceled, I think.
Okay, yeah.
I think he did that one. Or Krusty Gets Busted, I'm sorry.
Krusty Gets Busted.
Yeah,
Okay.
Busted. And so there's 6 guys who worked on season 1, and only 3 of them remained. So they needed to staff up because season 2, or Fox ordered 22 episodes, then added 2 more, bringing it up to 24 episodes.
Whoa.
And they were left with 3 directors. So suddenly they were running around going, we have to find a director, not just an animator. So I got hired without ever having drawn a Simpson. That didn't worry me because of my Hanna-Barbera training. Whatever model sheet they gave me, it's just a model sheet, and you just adapt and you do it.
Right.
Now, I had a ton to learn about each show in television. Has its own rules, has its own style. And I had a lot to learn. And, but I was hungry to learn. I wanted to be there. I was offered more money in season 3 to go work on Tiny Toons and stuff like that. And I turned it down. I stayed for less pay to stay on The Simpsons.
Why?
Stories and characters.
Oh, wonderful.
Stories and characters were what made us. It wasn't just animation. And I even had a top producer at Warner Brothers saying, they don't let you guys go crazy. And I thought, no, but we're funny. And all the other stuff they were talking about, I was thinking, I never laugh at that stuff, but I laugh at Simpsons and the situations. I don't want to go crazy. In fact, Nancy, you've probably heard this too. Maybe not, maybe you, but they would sometimes, producers or in the industry would tell us, have fun with this. And that's the last thing I ever wanted to hear.
Wow.
Because I would think fun would be for me to just go home right now and not do it. It's real. Comedy is really hard work.
Yeah.
And the have fun with it often means they don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, it sounds like goofing off, having fun with it. But there was a lot of control from what I understand. There's a lot of control, but you have a lot of freedom within that.
Yeah.
To be able to express yourself, and you,
Oh,
the
yeah.
king of gags,
Not a king of gags. But, I mean, we had good scripts, beautiful scripts, the best in that business. We had your fantastic voice tracks too. And the scripts, we had to honor the story. We had to honor the script. We had to go from point A to point B, and then we could bring style in it. It was such a good group of people, of like-minded people, and the team was so smart that all of us, I have to say, were big fans of our own show.
Yeah.
And if you weren't, you tended not to last on the show very long, you know. But
Wow, that makes
does
a
it make
lot of
sense?
sense. Of
Yeah.
course.
You said something very key there that I totally agree with,
Yeah.
because same guilty as charged, or guilty as charged. It's like, yeah, you can watch it. So I've seen myself on camera and can look at it. And I remember shooting it that day, but with The Simpsons, I was just a fan of the show. I just really enjoyed it. So I think that's such a plus point to like love what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, and I love my coworkers too. From across the board, and that could be an editor, a musician, a production person, a writer, certainly the actors, the animators. Everybody brought something to the table, and it could contribute. And I likened it to, like, I had opportunities to work at Disney a few times, but I saw Disney, I loved it, the history of Disney product and films, and I was trained by those Disney wonderful people. But if you were on a Disney feature, it was like you were a chair in an orchestra, and you had to play in tune and perfect pitch and all that. If you worked on The Simpsons, it was like you were in a jazz band. And
That's such a great analogy.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
there was room to solo if you wanted to.
Yeah.
On The Simpsons. So
Yeah. Well, and some guys, they really wanted to solo.
Yeah.
Like Conan O'Brien and Brad.
Yeah.
It's
David Silverman, Rich Moore, Jim Reardon, those were my contemporaries that I admired. Wes Archer, who brought me in. And so, yeah.
Does the name Nelbert Chenard ring a bell?
Chenard, the art school?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So Cal Arts came out of Chenard. You
That's
know
right.
That. And but I don't know, is that the owner of it, or?
Well, she was. Yeah,
she was the owner.
Yeah, she was the owner of it. And
Yeah.
From what I understand, because you had mentioned the one animators, that one of the 9 old men that was doing Bambi.
Yeah.
And I know that that Walt Disney wanted to make sure that the animators, not just doing cartoonish looking animation, but realistic. And they would go down to her her art school.
Absolutely.
And it was live animals were there, and they were drawing them and all this. And
Well, that was my teacher, mentor, Morris Golub.
Did he share stories about?
Oh yeah, I knew all those. I knew a lot of the guys, honestly, that worked on Bambi, and he was a model sheet artist and a storyboard artist on Bambi, and they had rigorous figure drawing, like 4 or 5 times a week, but they also brought in live animals, and they studied comparative anatomy, and I did study with them, with Mo, and
That's so cool.
that was part of it, and that came in handy, even drawing Santa's Little Helper.
I was going to say, how did that help you? And
Helps.
Snowball 2 and
Yeah, and then later, post-Simpsons.
Three-Eyed Fish?
Yeah, not that, but well, it really, with Bambi, I'll talk about that. They evolved the level of drawing animals to the highest level, really. I don't think it's been surpassed. And they described, like Milt Kahl of the 9 old men, and the term 3 old men evolved from the Disney 9 old men.
Oh, because I don't know this story.
The 9 old men were Walt Disney said, I have my 9 old men. And this was like in the 40s and 50s.
Okay.
And they were all guys in their 30s and 40s, but they had been at the studio a long time, and he relied on them as key animators. They were all animators. And the term was used by Franklin Delano Roosevelt to describe the Supreme Court, I think, as his 9 old men.
Okay.
And Walt adapted it, and then Simpsons adapted it. So I became director number 4 of season 2.
Okay.
When they hired me, they were still finishing season 1, and I saw Brad Bird doing retakes for Krusty gets canceled, and I saw David Silverman refinishing the Babysitter episode. They hadn't aired yet.
Right.
And they started me onto season 2. My first episode was show 5, season 2, which was Dancing Homer, where he's the baseball mascot.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So then you were mentioning how what you learned at Hanna-Barbera really set you up. Was there any other things that you took from that education, specifically your Disney mentors, that helped you? Like, what else did they give you that you were able to bring to The Simpsons?
Boy, it took everything I knew and more. And I had to learn the team. I had to learn my fellow players. I had to learn the system.
Yeah.
With The Simpsons, too, there was a rich history of television comedy with sitcom comedy. And I remember Sam Simon, who is the one who hired me.
Okay.
He was our showrunner at that time, and he was an incredible story editor. And he told me when he saw my early animatics, he goes, "We want sitcom acting." He's talking about the look of it. And he also talked about one time early in one of my first episodes, I think I had a scene where a character had to cross the stage, and it took time. And they said, "We don't want to do crosses." And I was like, "Crosses?" And he meant we don't want to have time where a character crosses because you're losing comedy time. And so they wanted staging where if you could, it's more like a character would just talking to Marge, talk to Bart, not walk across the room from Marge to Bart. It was just turn like that. Or cut in close and Homer leans in, so the lean in. But it was so that the timing of the comedy was fast.
Wow.
Another thing that's really important with all animation, clarity. It's got to be clear. And then Sam Simon also saying, if we're referencing a movie, and I remember I had one, and there's this scene of old Springfield, I will have you back again. And it was referencing Tara from Gone with the Wind.
Oh, wow.
And Sam said, if we're referencing a movie, don't be afraid to make it the exact shot. And I said, yeah, that's true. And I realized even if they don't get where that comes from, it's still a good classic shot.
Right,
So
right.
I learned stuff like that is like we referenced a lot of classic movies all the time.
So you would do some homework on that and
Oh, yeah.
find that shot.
Yeah, like the Grinch when Mr. Burns is
Yeah.
kind of like, it's a similar.
My assistant did that, Susie Dieter, my AD. And because I did that in Springfield, Last Exit to Springfield. And yeah, Susie Dieter was the first woman AD on The Simpsons and later became the first woman director.
Wow.
She loved The Grinch. And one thing I learned as a director, but I learned this at Hanna-Barbera, which is in casting who does what and doling out the work, if you can give somebody something that they have to be good artists, but if you can give them something that they like, that they love, they've already done a lot of homework on it, and they're going to nail it. And Susie nailed that. And while we were doing that, we were working at Film Roman, the studio, which was a company owned by legendary animator Phil Roman. He was walking through the studio giving a tour, and he saw Susie working on that, and he loved it. And he said he was the one who animated it in the original.
Wow.
In the original. He was there, but he saw us doing it.
Full circle.
Full circle, a lot of history there. But casting, even though, there's casting in voices, but there's also casting when a director works with the animators. You think of your animators as actors with a pencil.
Wow. I've never heard of
Yeah.
that like that.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a cool way of saying it too. You're actually casting who's going to be doing that.
And then the first thing we do is they have the voice tracks by this point, and so we would listen very closely to those voice tracks. And we would also have the script, because there can be misinterpretations in listening to a track. Is somebody laughing or are they crying?
Would you have headsets on then?
Or we had little tape cassettes. You could pop it in, like just play it. Yeah.
And so were you inspired in terms of what to storyboard there by listening to?
Always the acting. Yeah.
Wow.
The scripts, and, if you were doing something like in Last Exit to Springfield, I storyboarded a section of Homer the Don where he's going through the fruit stands and he's picking up donuts and stuff. But I was watching, once I knew what I was referencing, I had a screen and I got a VHS cassette of Godfather 2 and I watched it and I copied the camera shot.
Oh.
And then I would listen to the track.
Yeah.
And I would try to get all the little, chuckles or, whatever. Yeah, the tracks would always inspire the acting because all those characters can shift and change. And Homer being really crazy could shift from happy to crazy and mad in just
one sentence.
Yeah. And we called those beats, and we would say, and sometimes just little throat clears or something, sighs or something, we would say to each other, let's hit that beat. Like if Marge did I'm going to give up or whatever, you want to see the character do something to register that. And if they're not, it doesn't feel alive.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's significant. It kind of puts a punch at the end of her emotional expression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little sighs. And then if somebody's lying, like Bart's telling Marge a lie.
Classic.
I didn't do it. Nobody saw me do it. You can't prove anything.
I would have Bart's eyes, like if Marge is here and he's looking up at Marge or Homer, I would have him like looking at the floor and like shifting his eyes, like he has trouble making eye contact because he knows he's lying. And that also feels like there's an inner thing going on in his brain.
Oh, that's such a fascinating
Well done.
thing.
Very well done.
Yeah,
That's
and
how
it all makes it believable for the audience because
eye darts, we could call them.
Eye darts.
Eye darts.
Pulling it back to some of these 84 episodes that you did, and specifically the Halloween episodes, do you remember the first time that you were asked to direct a Treehouse of Horror episode?
Well, it happened twice. So, And the way you found out you were getting an episode, you were never asked. You just got a script.
Oh, wow.
So the script was suddenly like,
you were
hey,
cast.
I'm doing a Halloween episode.
And what was your thought? Because by then they'd done a few then, right?
I did number 8. So it was an honor. In those days, we had 3 acts, and each act was a different filmic style and a different reference, and mine was the Omega Man Omega Man with Charlton Heston, I think, and the movie.
Was that the Naked Homer one? Isn't he he's in church or something and he's naked? What was that like? How did you storyboard that? We had a given team of storyboard artists dedicated, and they would have assigned us. I'd have to watch the credits. That's all on the credits to see who storyboarded what. But each act went to a different storyboard artist. And me, as a director interfacing with the storyboard now, I did do some storyboarding on that because it was the first episode I got after coming back from a hiatus. Because I ended up doing the Crucible one where Marge is a witch. Yes.
Yeah, I storyboarded that act. My assistant director, who's now a famous director, Matt Nastic, he storyboarded The Fly.
The Fly versus
Fly. Okay.
So Matt did that. We were working on paper then. We weren't working on a Cintiq. And we were trying for classic shots. And especially with the Halloween episodes, we would reference classic movies. So, watching the movie carefully, you could find your shots. And there was a machine in the studio where we could freeze frame on a frame and we could get a printout. And we get a printout So you'd watch the movie and see a dozen shots that would be useful to you.
Right.
And you would print those out, and you would actually, I would pin them up on my wall as I was working, and I would just have the composition I needed right in front of me.
Mark, you must have been in heaven.
Oh, it was
you must
great.
have been in heaven every day. How did you sleep at night? Did you get enough sleep? I mean, or were you just like creating all the time?
It was exhilarating.
Yeah.
And, we have a bond of myself and the people I worked with in the 30 years I was there. I have a bond with them, and I do think of them as family. It's a cliche. And then we would talk to each other and say, we spend more time with each other than we do our own families. Because you could be in a room with your fellow storyboard artists for 10 hours, 8, 10 hours, depending on how close to the deadline we were, how far behind we were. Another thing the directors did, we were invited to the table reads. You could learn behind the scenes expectations and stuff like that. And if you could go in and watch you actors record, you might get attitudes and stuff. And I would bring I'd have my script like everybody else. My scripts had little thumbnail sketches in them. Like I remember being with Ian Maxtone Graham on the Italian Bob, and they're describing, I guess it was Sideshow Bob's wife. Was it sort of a Sophia Loren type? And I sketched it out in my book and my script and showed it to Ian, who was producing it, and he approved it. That gave me like, okay, now I'm going down to the storyboard thing. To work with the storyboard artist, I have a kickoff drawing and say we're going in this direction. And there was one time I caught a mistake in the recording with him. Sideshow Bob had a little boy, had a little son.
Whoa, vaguely, yeah.
And he's crawling down a rope, and he has a knife in his mouth, saying something like, "I'm going to kill you," or something like that.
That makes sense.
And I went after the take to Ian and I said, "Ian, this little character's supposed to have a knife clenched in his mouth.
I'll kill you!"
Yeah, exactly. So we caught it in the record, and it made sense because if you got the script in front of you, you may not see the visual. So.
I'm so relieved. I'm so relieved.
That's all it was.
Well done. Yeah,
that's minor.
Good eye.
Yeah, it was just a minor thing. But now, it wasn't always possible because the director could be shipping a show behind schedule and being pounded on by production, so we couldn't always be at those.
Right.
But whenever we could, we all liked to be.
Oh,
I
that's
bet.
Nice.
I bet. Yeah.
Well, speaking of her having to change her voice a little bit in Fly versus a Fly, which Bart, becomes a fly hybrid kind of a thing. I noticed when I was watching it how high pitched Bart is when he's a fly, which is extremely appropriate. Yeah. Obviously, these are the things that you have to think of.
Yeah.
And Nancy, I have a question for you to declassify regarding that. Did you have to suck some helium to sound so incredibly high pitched as Bart the fly?
Normally he would talk in this register, but as a fly I had to kind of like bring it up. So I would talk like this, or just a little bit higher. I was hoping to be humongous. I'm just glad I don't have two butts.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Yeah.
That was actually really fun to do, and I realized, I don't need to rely on any mechanical or electronical, tweaking.
But I can do it myself,
and that was a good feeling of ownership.
Yeah.
Of that sound,
Wow.
anyway.
I was surprised when I saw how they edited the audios. The time I sat in with Ian for the Italian Bob, he had a 5-star system on each line, and he would circle the one he liked the best.
Yeah.
And when he was done at the end, he handed his circled takes over to the editor, who put them all together, and then it was sent to us. I never realized how it could be done so fast until I saw how he did it. So
you didn't realize that. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they edited it line by line. It wasn't take by take or scene by scene. No, it's line by line. So if there's 8 people in the scene, it's my first line, take 3. Then Homer speaks, his take 4.
Yeah.
Then Yardley speaks, and it's her first take. And we would do it at least 4 times. We would go through the scene 4 times.
And if it was Ian, it would be 5.
He
was always a 5-take guy. But the Louise, right, would break the script down into what you guys called scenes. And there might be a dozen scenes or 20 scenes or something. Animation, every camera shot we called a scene. And in that Halloween episode, there might have been 350 scenes to animators.
Wow.
But your breakdown in the script, what you guys called it your scenes, and it was fascinating to watch you guys actors work, because it was like watching a radio show being recorded, and you really tried with all present actors, all subdivided with sound baffles and stuff, but you could see each other. But you would try to act and react to each other in time, and that gave it energy, and reality is. And I remember reading about John Wayne saying, I don't act, although he goes, I just react. I'm not sure how well he reacted, but but it makes sense. He reacted, and you guys would bounce off each other, even if sometimes you had a temp voice in there.
Well, sometimes a scene would be between, say, Hank and Dan, and the two of them would be riffing off of each other, and it took all of our self-discipline to not laugh and enjoy it as a public. We had to be professional and not laugh, because if we laughed, we'd ruin it, and they'd have to, and that was gone forever. So you learn very quickly to keep it keep it shut,
Well, deep diving a little bit further into that episode, Treehouse of Horror 8. The third segment or act in the episode was this Easy Bake Coven. And the background, the visuals on that were so incredible, so colonial. How much research had to go into doing that?
A good amount.
Were there like movies or things you guys had to reference to see that?
I would have put in as much of that into the original storyboard as I could. And that was a kickoff. And then we had a fabulous design team, and they were like Lance Wilder. Has been there for 35 years now, but these are RISD, Rhode Island School of Design people that they came to The Simpsons about when I did. And they would deep dive into the reference and we had researchers too at that point. This is before Google, before online searches, but we had researchers who would go over to the Warner's research library. And they would find things in color Xerox. You would get a packet of reference.
Nice, right?
And that would give them a kickoff. And then the director could see all that and help be part of coaching. And that's how a director works, is because with so much to do, these professionals, they're in the team, would take the designs, and it would be you'd have a character designer, prop designer, and background designer. They'd all be working on this material while the director's working on the storyboards too. And it would be brought to the director. You'd have design review meetings, and you can make adjustments in that rough stage. Like, I think this should be tighter, or I think this should be bigger, or let's add, more details. One thing about that kind of design is interesting when it's not enough, when it's unbaked. I would say to the designer something I had learned doing live action, which I said, this feels like a set that's undressed. And then you had to add more cobwebs, or sometimes in a haunted show or something, things should not be perfectly perpendicular. They should be off kilter. And you can look back in history to a movie called The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which was a German expressionist movie, and they made walls this way and that way. Or if you look at the settings from Frankenstein, like the rooms where Frankenstein is kind of like this dungeon area, it's like walls going this way and that way.
Totally.
And so
It's disturbing, right, to look at, and
It makes you uneasy.
Yeah.
So one of the first things I might have said is, well, these are old, this is the Pilgrim era.
Right.
And so buildings should not feel perfectly lined up. They're not modern skyscrapers.
Right.
They should be cattywampa, tilted, crooked and stuff. But then also, if you show a door, it should feel like a raised panel door that they would have built. And I would sometimes reference that with my designers and say, let's look at how a door was made or how a window was really made. Because I did a little carpentry. But I might look at a tree and say, this is New England. This should be a maple tree.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember getting upset in that episode when the color came back because I had some leaves fall through in the opening shot.
Yeah.
And they colored them green.
Oh no! Oh no!
This is Halloween. This is
Yeah.
fall. These leaves need to be recolored. I can't remember if we fixed it or not, but it should have been. They should have been fall
Well,
colored
Simpsons
leaves.
Declassified. Look it
Somebody
up.
can look it up. I hope we
take a
fixed
look.
it. Yeah.
At the ending of that episode, the witches invented Halloween so that they could eat candy.
Yeah.
You remember that? How tough was because you were talking about storyboarding. How did you do that? Do you remember the specifics on storyboarding that one?
I did storyboard it, and I don't remember.
Come on, Mark. No pressure.
They're all doing a storyboard was always a lot of work.
Yes,
The
bad.
hours drawing, and I remember
And it comes first, no? Or
Yeah, it comes
so
first.
everyone's waiting on you.
it has to be.
Or
yeah,
but they're working on other episodes
Oh, yeah, yeah.
simultaneously.
Yeah,
I mean,
No one's sitting around.
We're
no,
all-
no, no.
It's all done to a. It's all done to a specific timeline. Like we had 3 weeks to do the storyboard or something
right.
like that.
Aren't you working on about 5 episodes at various stages of development, 5 or 6 simultaneously?
Well, in my career at that time, I would have had one already over in Korea being animated that was going to come back. And when it came back, I had to sit with Don Barroso, the editor, and edit it. There's a lot of work that goes into Simpsons in the editing. You won't think of it.
Wow.
But there's a lot of that. But we would be prepping one. We could have one in layout. We could be storyboarding one, have one in layout, and one overseas that when it comes back, we have to work on it. And then we used to have to do the retakes.
Wow, so it's like 5, 6
Too much.
different
It was a little
areas.
bit.
Wow.
It was a little bit too much, but they did break it down. Later, they started an entire retake crew, and they even had a retake director take over. That was often life-saving, but sometimes it caused problems.
And what is a retake for those that don't know exactly
Yeah.
what that is?
It could be a rewrite, because you'd get your show back in color, edit it together. It's the original script. It's the original everything. Go in and have the meeting with the writer producers, and they'd watch it and they'd think of another joke or another storyline, and they'd rewrite it. And that was every episode, not just once in a while. Every episode, you could get up to a 30% rewrite on an episode.
Wow.
And then it would go nowadays to a retake director. When I started in the early days, all of us would also handle our own retakes. So we would have to, re-storyboard new material,
Yeah.
get new designs perhaps, give it out to, and you guys would do new line readings.
Okay.
And then we would get all that material and start, new scenes.
Oh my gosh. Well, you've given
Yeah.
us so many Easter eggs because I got to say, fans love the Easter eggs and
Easter
they're
eggs.
looking for them all the time. Is there any other hidden gag or note that you love that maybe people don't notice?
They're in there all throughout. There are Easter eggs.
Do you have any favorites?
First time, my history with that.
Yeah.
Was getting on The Simpsons was signage jokes and what they called freeze frame jokes. On Dancin' Homer, I had more leeway on that. And I have a friend named Phil who helped me design all my cards, Phil Hatton. And for the scene where the family gets to where they're going to have the playoff,
Capital City?
Capital City. And Tony Bennett sings a song, and we had all these neon montages going by, and Marge is impressed and all that. But I had one that I named a gas station Phil's Gas. And
Nice.
I put it in there,
Nice.
and my friend Phil got that
Yeah.
joke. Later on, once that show happened, the writers realized those are humorous too, so they took command and control of the signage jokes. And so all the signs are approved by the writers, and they were really careful about grammar. It had to be perfect grammar. And I remember even one time, like, they had a soup and sandwich store, and they even spelled it out on the script, soup and sandwich. And I had to call over to say, can I make that and an ampersand? And they went, okay. Like that. But I was careful with that, not to step on anything the writers did.
Yeah.
But, oh God, every episode has humor and jokes added.
All right, Mark. So let's do some rapid fire questions from the director's chair.
Okay.
One phrase answer, no overthinking.
Okay.
Rapid fire. Here we go. The hardest Simpsons character to direct visually.
Sideshow Bob.
Good. Favorite Treehouse of Horror parody.
Forevermore. Edgar Allan Poe.
Nevermore. Nevermore.
Okay.
One word to describe your directing style.
Simple.
Good. This is the last one.
Okay.
Best Halloween candy at the studio.
Donuts.
Okay, so Mark, our listeners sent a ton of fan questions just for you.
Okay.
So I'm going to read for you the fan mailbox questions.
Yeah.
Great.
Whoa.
Here we are with our declassified mailbox.
Wow. Wow.
Right. Let's dive in. Okay, so our first question comes from N.Rizzy, who asks, what has been your favorite episode of The Simpsons to direct?
Wow. I would have to say Last Exit to Springfield.
That's a great answer.
It was all over the place. It had so many visual treats. It was surreal. Wow. And it's hard to believe that was 22 minutes, all those different worlds.
So good.
Yeah.
All right, our next question comes from Creati Reviews, who asks, in the Shinning parody, was anyone actually worried that you might get sued?
Not that we heard of. No, we weren't worried about that. Yeah.
I feel like y'all were never worried about that kind of thing. Just put it on air, see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think we were sued too many times. I would have been more worried about Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I just want to take a moment to thank the fans once again for tuning in and being so dedicated. We really, really appreciate it. And stay tuned to let us know what else you would like to know.
Absolutely. Thanks, you guys.
Mark, before we head off, I want to find out, we would like to find out what is on the horizon. What do we have to look for from Mark Kirkland?
Oh, my God. I do fine art. I draw. I do photography. And I've been doing gallery shows, I've had 2 gallery shows in the last year and a half.
And if people would like to find out when you're having another exhibition, where would they find that?
I think you could always follow me on Instagram because I post art and drawing. I love fine art. And I may pop up as a consultant for a TV show in the future. So I keep my hand in, but I like making fine art. So
amazing.
Beautiful.
Drawing and painting too.
Yeah.
Once an artist, always an artist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you, Mark, so much for coming on our show. This was incredible.
Thank you for having me. It was incredible for me. And thank you to the fans who have kept us in business for all these years.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Such a pleasure to find out more about the Mark Kirkland.
Thank you.
Yeah. Show's over, losers.